I'm just watching a mosquito and just wondering how long I've got before I'm eaten alive sitting here. But anyway, we'll give it a go. Um, Lots of comments recently about monkey branching. So I thought we'd address it and talk about why it happens, what's going on there for someone who is monkey branching. Monkey branching, by the way, for anyone wondering, is when somebody is already dipping their toe in a new relationship before they have completed the one that they're in. So they're holding on to one branch while reaching for another one. And it's a really painful experience if you're on the receiving end of that. It feels like utter rejection, but actually, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to see that it says a lot more about their coping mechanisms and the way that they cope with emotions than it does about you, your worth, or even how they think and feel about you, right? They just have this lack of capacity when it comes to expressing and sitting with discomfort. You know, even if the case was that they were starting to think, oh, I don't know if this relationship was right, and they struggle to express that, right, it still leaves you feeling incomplete. But this is what avoidants do, isn't it? They struggle to complete things, and that's why they have lots of loose ends going on, which is why they often come back to things later, because they're trying to complete things that they didn't complete. So before I get into this video properly, I want to let you know that I've got 2 spaces left in my self-abandonment trap, which starts next week. And I'm so excited about this because it's a very different process than what I've done before. I am a qualified art life coach, which means that I can use and have used creativity as a way of helping people to connect with themselves and express things that they find hard to do with words. Because remember, a lot of the stuff that we're feeling and the traumas that we have and experience in relationships are pre-verbal, right? So we don't even know how to have the words for them, because those feelings existed before we had language or before we knew how to express things. So using creativity is an amazing way of setting those feelings free and putting them into some kind of form, right? This is why I love songwriting. It's why other people love art. It's why other people love, you know, poetry or decoration or whatever it is that helps you to be expressive. Because if we're not expressing, we are repressing. And that's what I want to help you to let go of some of these feelings that keep you stuck obsessing on another person, going round and round in circles. So if you want any more information about those last 2 spaces, you can find out in the link below. Would love to see you there. Okay, so when it comes to monkey branching, people do this because they don't feel safe. They just don't feel safe sitting in the messy middle, in the uncertainty. They don't feel safe when there's a vulnerable situation, whether that is that they have been asked to be accountable for things, or they are actually starting to feel like they might let you down, like they might not be good enough for you, like they might not be able to meet your needs. And they start to feel like you're going to feel sad about that, or you're going to reject them. Then they might find the easiest possible way to escape with the least possible discomfort for them, which might be, for many people, it is reaching out to someone else so that they know they've got a soft place to land in that uncomfortable time, right? So if they were to not do that, for example, they would likely feel the loss. But because avoidants really struggle with processing and feeling these emotions, they tend to avoid things, don't they? Avoidants avoid. They avoid that, and then they find that easiest possible way to get over that hurdle in their life. But it doesn't mean that it goes away. It doesn't mean that those feelings that they didn't process with you just disappear. They're still there. They still have to process them at some point, and that's why they often come back later. They often come back later in life because they don't complete things, and then they return to them to try to complete them. So monkey branchers are essentially avoiding the emotions that they need to process in order to actually let go of you and let go of situations. And they often carry a lot of guilt, you know, which kind of again comes back to them. So you might get a, I'm really sorry about what I did before or whatever later in life, but it doesn't really matter, does it, when they've already done it? um, and I think it's one of the things that you've got to bear in mind is that It's really, really hard to trust somebody once they've shown you that they're capable of doing that kind of thing. Um, so if they ever were going to come back, you'd have to know that they'd had some real deep reflection on their behavior about that. Um, and I also think as well that they're only ever going to go to another surface level connection from that place, aren't they? If they're jumping from one relationship to another without processing the one before. And I've seen this happen. I actually had the experience of somebody monkey branching onto me, which was really confusing to be on the other end of that, because I didn't realize that he hadn't completed the relationship with his ex partner. So I thought that he was just really ready to be with me, but actually he was not. And so he, behind my back, a few months after we got together, started to text her and say sorry and I miss you. And he just hadn't completed that relationship. So that's the problem with monkey branching, is that they might jump onto somebody else, but they have not completed the emotions, and so it comes up later. So they might look like they're really happy with somebody, like my ex looked like he was really happy with me, right? But he he had monkey branched onto me, so that ended our relationship, that ended it. So that was the end of that. I didn't want to be with somebody who'd monkey branched onto me, because I knew he hadn't completed the relationship. So I feel like if you're in that situation, it's really good to ask questions about how complete the old relationship is before you jump in headfirst into that relationship. I just think that there's such a lack of integrity when it comes to monkey branchers, right? They haven't completed it. They've lied to two people's faces, basically. And nothing good can really come from that. Everybody finds out in the end. And, everybody's confused about it and people get hurt. So if your ex partner has monkey branched onto somebody else, you kind of have to feel sorry for everyone involved, really, because it usually doesn't end well. And I'm not saying that, in every single case, these people just break up and it doesn't work, but very often it doesn't work because of the lack of integrity there. And it's messy. It's just messy. It gets complicated and messy. I know what that's like. It's really, really painful to be on either end of that. And I would just say you've just got to keep your eyes open and ask the right questions, especially at the beginning of a relationship, because that's where you find out, like, if someone is likely to have monkey branched onto you, if they're likely to do it again. And you just really want things to be complete. But like I say, avoidants struggle to complete things, don't they? Sorry, I'm going to have to go because there's so many mosquitoes. But thanks for watching, everybody. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.